Welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about midsegment of a trapezoid. A midsegment of a trapezoid is the segment that connects the midpoints of the legs of a trapezoid. So here is a trapezoid, and if I find the midpoint of this leg and the midpoint of this leg and connect them, I have a midsegment. So this right here is the midsegment. Okay, now the midsegment of a trapezoid is parallel to each base, and it is half the length, its length is half the sum of the lengths of the bases. Okay, so this midsegment is parallel to these two bases. So these bases are parallel. The midsegment is parallel to those bases, and its length is exactly half the sum of the bases, or it is the average of the lengths of the bases. So if segment MN is a midsegment of trapezoid ABCD, then segment MN is parallel to segment AB, and segment MN is parallel to segment CD. Okay, so all three of these are parallel to each other. And the length of segment MN, and this really shouldn't have anything over the top of it, so we'll just pretend that's not there. In fact, I'm going to white that out. So there it is, whited out. Now, with nothing over the top, that means the length of segment MN, the length of segment MN is half the sum of the two bases, the length of segment AB, and that shouldn't have anything over the top of it either. So please hold while there we go, that's better. So the length of segment MN is half the length of segment AB plus the length of segment CD. Okay, so now we will use that. So segment MN, this is the midsegment. I know that because those tick marks tell me M is the midpoint of side PS, and these tick marks tell me N is the midpoint of side QR. So this is definitely a midsegment. So the length of segment MN is half of 16 plus 9. Okay, so that is half of 25, which is 25 over 2. Or we could write 12.5 or 12 and a half. Okay, and that is in inches. 25 over 2 inches, or 12 and 1/2 inches. Okay, so here the length of segment MN is 1/2 of 30 plus 12. I know it's a midsegment because these tick marks tell me M is a midpoint, and these tell me N is a midpoint, so I have a midsegment. Its length is half of 30 plus 12. So that's half of 42, and half of 42 is 21, so it is 21 feet. Our last problem about midsegments here, find this value of x. Now I know 15 is part of a midsegment because these tick marks tell me that's a midpoint. These tell me that's a midpoint right there. So I know this is a midsegment. This time I know the length of the midsegment, so I'll start with the length of the midsegment, 15, equals half of the sum of x plus 23, the two bases. Okay, now to get rid of that half, I can multiply both sides by 2, and I get 30 equals x plus 23, and I can subtract 23, and I get x is 7.